Hello there, how you doing? That's a good, I hope. So I'm gonna be jamming away here with a bit of a groovy shred vibe. I found a pretty cool backing track called Funk Rhythm Swing Feel by Mr. Stefano Lucarelli on the GMC website. So we'll see if that inspires some cool grooving. It's in E minor, by the way. I just had to get that one in. So I'm working a little bit on tapping. And you know, I can play some tapping, but I still find it really hard to improvise with it. So that's what I'm working on. You think you are some kind of gangster? Yeah, I do. Just kidding. What's up? You love the riff, thank you so much. So I've been banging blood for a long time. You couldn't imagine. Blake, you shouldn't be sorry. You should be inspired because you can do this as well. You rock, man. Don't ever feel just because someone is shredding that you're not gonna make it. First of all, shred is just muscle memory. It doesn't mean anything to anybody outside of the guitar world. And second of all, you have something unique to say which I cannot say. So you have a unique blend of different musical influences and blend of personalities and social input, and that produces a unique outcome, whether it's, you know, shred oriented or whether it's slow, whether it's a song. So don't ever feel that, you know, it's a competition and, you know, you'll never be able to shred as hard as the other one. That doesn't matter, you know, you are unique, and what you gotta work on is finding your unique way of saying things on the instrument. That's the only thing that matters. Whether that involves shred or not, no one cares. What people do care about is whether you learn to, you know, convey that message, which is unique to you. No one else can do that. But that doesn't mean you can easily produce something that sounds cool. It just means that you can produce something unique, which no one else can do if you work on your style. So just push it hard. Cool, so thanks so much for the feedback, awesome. So I hope it makes sense, Blake, but you should never be discouraged when you see someone else just shred away. Doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean shit. I'm so cool, I said that. I don't play the banjo, sorry. Eccentricity on the internet. Am I eccentric? Yeah, man, that makes me cry. Pretty cool. You're playing with ants, big voice. That's awesome. I'd love to do that as well. I'm jealous. You know, playing music is all about finding your inner kid, and playing with ants sounds like fun. Of course, I don't want to say what I did to ants when I was a kid. That was kind of horrible. I stopped pretty soon, though. And now I just eat totally plant-based. So I've evolved. But still, I don't feel good about it. Tommy! Awesome to see you. Here's for you. Tommy lick. So you can hear there's a little bit of groove going on in here, even though I'm still using a lot of that shreddy stuff, but it's still, you know, you're gonna have some licks that are a bit swingy in between, and that's how you convey the shreddy kind of groove. Otherwise, shred is very linear and it's often not very groovy. From Indonesia, what's up? Stockholm, Sweden here. Totally different parts of the world, but the internet unites us, so the internet is a good thing after all. Who would have thought? Exercises for hybrid picking, that's a good one. So first, let's do some hybrid picking. You can just check my right hand and you're gonna see that I use both the pick and the fingers. That's why it's called hybrid picking, because I'm mixing up fingerstyle technique with picking. So if you look carefully, you can see I totally use my fingers all the time. Let's check it out some more. So it doesn't matter if I'm doing some blues-inspired stuff like, or even some more like, I don't know, fusion. And that was even arpeggios, you know, like. So hybrid legato is actually my absolute favorite technique for arpeggios as well. It's just hard to beat the combination of legato and hybrid picking. So how do you do hybrid picking? That's an awesome question. And the number one thing I see people miss is, you know, hybrid picking is not that hard because it's not that fast, right? If you look at my right hand now when I'm playing something pretty fast, the fast stuff happens here. It doesn't happen here. This hand is just picking one out of three notes. Pick, finger, pick, finger. So it shouldn't be hard to hybrid pick. It should be the left hand that's the problem. Yet I see so many people struggling with hybrid picking. And the reason most of the time is because the actual picking movement takes the hybrid finger away from where it's supposed to be. So if you have this kind of wrist-based picking movement and you pick like that, what's going to happen is your hybrid finger, you're pretty much throwing it away from the guitar. So it's going to be really hard to kind of, you know, bring your finger back, and it's just bad and it doesn't work well at all. So if you rely on this picking movement, you will struggle with hybrid picking, because when you pick, you also take your hybrid finger away from the strings. So what you have to do is rely on this movement, the thumb jump movement. That's the key. Why do people struggle with that? Most of the time they're used to this big movement, right? And this is a very different movement. So what you have to do here to practice this is to anchor your fingers. And remember, this is only for practicing. I'm not saying you should always anchor your fingers. I'm saying for practicing this wrist movement, you gotta anchor your fingers, so you're forcing your hands to only use this, because it cannot use the wrist. If your fingers are anchored, the wrist won't be moving. Your only option is to use this movement. And if you do that, you can practice pretty good. So if you can do this, then you can start adding the hybrid finger, because you won't be doing that movement and not be able to reach your string with a hybrid finger. I'm exaggerating here, of course, but I've seen this a million times. Trust me, this is most of the time the issue. So small picking movement, you anchor your fingers so you're not transported away as you pick, And once you practice that for a good while, you can then start trying to combine pick and finger. And then you're gonna be able to shred away, okay? Let's try it. And I messed up. Let's try one more time. More hybrid picking now. Sorry, mate. So I'm trying to keep up with your comments here. Where did I learn my skills? Yeah, I'm mostly self-taught. I took 1 year of private lessons with an awesome Swedish guitarist. His name is Christian Niemann, and you can still find him on Facebook. He's an amazing legato player, and he played in Therion, and he plays in another, like a doom metal band now, which is pretty cool. Can't remember the name of it though, but you can find that. And he inspired me to, the most important thing he gave me was not the knowledge. It was the fact that he was sitting in his basement or in his apartment and he was just practicing and shredding all day long. And I was like, whoa, if he can do that, then maybe I can do that. And then also he taught me, you know, the modes and some basic introduction to techniques, but mostly theory. And also he constantly borrowed me records. That was before, you know, MP3s and stuff like that. So I got a chance to listen to, you know, Eric Johnson, Alan Holsworth, and all these good people. So that was cool. So this is an Ibanez RG652AHM, and I agree, it looks awesome. So let's try some more hybrid picking here, and hopefully you're going to be inspired to start practicing it. So I like to combine hybrid picking with legato. It's just awesome. It's this kind of thing. You see, it's kind of smooth flowing, right? That's the legato part of it. And then I add the hybrid picking, and it becomes more flexible. I can play that whenever I want, or wherever I want. I can do, you know, maybe some wider. I couldn't do that, but I need to practice this. Led Zeppelin. This is Ibanez, Rupert. So you want Led Zeppelin? That's the best I can do. So, in case you're wondering, this is just E minor pentatonic now. So if you want to tune in, you can definitely play your like pentatonic scale. So thank you, RV. I'm also happy people want to watch me play. That makes my day. So you can definitely play your pentatonic scale. You can definitely play your classic rock and blues licks. In fact, that's the best thing you can do to groove, because these licks are groovy, trust me. Just listen to it. So that was SRV-ish inspired licks, and it works really well. Of course, you can adjust the rhythm to make it even swingier. I mean, maybe you would be used to hearing this kind of lick, right? And that's a little less groovy, so I'm kind of adapting that to... And I like to kind of improvise around these ideas because it gets more fun and I think more interesting also to listen to if you're not playing the same licks over and over. Amit, you're too kind. 30 seconds into the channel, already subscribed. Get down, brother man. How the hell am I doing that? Wasting Love, Iron Maiden. Sorry. Iron Maiden. So So my favorite guitar to play is this guitar right now. But it changes all the time, and I'm sorry to say that. That's why I have lots of different guitars. I know it's just bad reply because people can't buy lots of different guitars, but think of it this way. You don't have to buy different guitar. Just buy one guitar at a time. So start with one guitar, like a classic guitar, Strat. I love Strats. They're awesome to play. They sound amazing. You can put high or low output pickups in them. You know, you can start with a Strat. You can find really cheap and decent Strats. So that's a great guitar. Some days I'm in love with the Strat. And then maybe further along the road, you can buy another guitar. Then you can buy maybe more like a Les Paul style guitar with like a fatter neck and different body shape and that stuff. And that's also lovely. You know, I don't know if you can see, but the red one there, that's a Les Paul style guitar. And the other red one is a Strat. And then there's a blue one there, which is also a Strat. And I have another Les Paul style guitar elsewhere. And, you know, they're all great, you know. So I don't think you can go wrong if you start with any of the standard guitars and then you can buy more. And most of these guitars are pretty flexible, you know. Even if you don't buy a guitar with like a active EMGs, really heavy stuff, even those, I guess you can coil split them and they can be okay, maybe, I don't know. But if you accept that, then most guitars are flexible in their configuration. Most guitars, if they're loud, you can coil split them. I have that on a few guitars. And single coil guitars, if they're really soft, you can replace one with like a humbucker or single coil sized humbucker, and you can get metal tones out of that. So you don't have to think that, oh, if I buy a guitar and it's the wrong one, I'll die, you know. It's you know, just if you can try the guitar so it feels okay, then most of the time you can always make small adjustments, and you know, you can be flexible about it. And then maybe later on you can buy another guitar so you have even more versatility, but it's nothing decisive, you know. Even though I can't tell you which guitar I prefer. That's why I have so many different ones. They're all different, and I want basically the guitar to match the mood of the day. You know, that's what it's about. Today I feel like playing this guitar, and I'll do it. And the good thing about that is, if you're like me and you play guitar all the time, because you know I work with it, but also because I love it, then you appreciate the versatility, not only for sound, but also because they feel so different. So it's not like you're doing the same job every day, you know. You go to, you know, whatever you're doing, and you do all the time the same thing. For me, it offers variations. That's why it's important. But if you're practicing like 1 or 2 hours per day, or just 15 minutes, then having one guitar for a couple of years is awesome. I had that, and that worked out well. I'm still playing, you know. Master of Puppets. I messed up. You take a Metallica song and turn it into Megadeth. Cool. Sorry for not keeping totally up with the comments. Do you play with earplugs often or never? Earplugs, yeah, with a band I do, yeah. I'm extremely worried about damaging my hearing. I already have a pretty serious damage in my right ear. I've done 3 surgeries to try to fix it. There's nothing to do with listening to live music. It's just an accident where I blew away the eardrum. So I've always been careful about listening to loud music. So yeah, earplugs is the shit whenever you're playing with a drummer or whenever you're playing loud. Oh, you like my vibration? Thank you so much, Rupert. Yeah, this is a Fireman, so it's Paul Gilbert's take on Iceman. So I'm going through your comments a bit back here. Yep, one of my guitars actually has the S1 switch. No, I removed it actually, but I have the pick guard with the S1 switch, so I might, I could put it back, but. Thank you, Rupert. I hope to heal. Etoile, thank you for asking. Crazy town, exactly. Okay, so yeah, what I was doing there was just a medley, right? I started with Master of Puppets, and I messed up a whole bunch of times, and I switched to Symphony of Destruction. I probably messed up as well. I haven't played those for years. And then I went to, that's like Crazy Train, right? And then I went to, oh well, I didn't keep on going. I should have. That's Pantera, The Art of Shredding. Pretty cool track. I don't do Ed Sheeran, sorry man. I saw her exercise on pentatonic scale where I have to slant my pick. I'm learning the Four Horsemen solo. Can't get the scale right. Yeah, exactly. I love slanting my pick for pentatonic stuff. You can check it out here. So instead of just like having your pick parallel to the string like that, I slant it down like that. And it really helps with the out. So whenever you're playing 2 notes per string, basically, and then you can see I kind of slanted back again, right? Australia, what an honor, from down under. I think Australia is cool because you're not that messed up in the time zone wise. It's a problem. I miss all the US people when I do these live streams because I do them in my morning. That's when my head is clear enough to do them. But Australia, I can catch you. That's cool. Chicken picking, for sure. Or I do hybrid picking, and that's we've spoken quite a bit about that in this session. Chicken picking is a take on that, where basically you're sounding more country with a clean tone and doing these a lot of dead notes. But I'm not very good at that. But yeah. Such a lonely day from Greece. How you doing, man? Then Catalavena, Elenica. I'm half Greek, so it's a disaster. That's all I can say. Cool, concert pianist and composer. There you have it in action. Awesome, so you found me from Instagram. Did you click like the link and come here, or was it just a coincidence? No, I don't understand Greek, it's a shame. I'm very sad about it. Hola español, yo no hablo español, yo soy de Suecia. Gracias. Flamenco. So the answer is clearly no. I don't. Oh, that's a cool question. If you already adjusted the truss rod, but you still have high action. So either there's an issue, right, with the truss rod. It could be blocked, and if you're unsure, you should take it to a luthier. Never use force with the truss rod. But it could also simply be that you need to adjust the string action here on the bridge. Yeah, those are the two options usually. It could be weirder stuff as well, like a bent neck or something loose here. Hopefully not. But usually that's what it is. You have to lower these, and so action is a compromise between the bow of the neck and the height of the strings. And if you've got a really good fret job, then if you combine those two metrics to a certain point, you can get very good action. Blues! Classical music. Neoclassical. Is that okay? I think I messed up a little bit. I'm not good at classical, but I do a little bit of neoclassical. That comes from my Yngwie Malmsteen influences. Actually, I'm more influenced by a guy named Marcus Lavendel, who is a co-instructor, used to be on the GMC website. And prior to that, I never really figured out the Yngwie thing, but I did jam a couple of times with him in real life, and yeah, that was very inspirational. He still has a neoclassical style down. So, you know, all these. So play without the guitar, maybe a Strat, I think, since we're shredding. Since we're speaking about Yngwie, this is actually my favorite guitar to play Yngwie. It's a scalloped Strat, and it's just I don't know, very smooth for neoclassical stuff. I guess it's no coincidence that he uses a similar guitar and configuration. Of course, I have low output pickups. I'm not a big fan of super loud stuff. Low or medium is pretty cool, I think. And this is what I spoke about earlier when I said that you can just go with one guitar and you can make it flexible. This has a push-pull, right? So what that does is it uses these pickups, these low output single coils, in series. So it becomes a little bit like an humbucker, and that gives me the additional output. So it's a bit reminiscent of your humbucker guitar, basically. You know, it's not the same, but I can definitely get some sustain here, right? If we compare with just the single coil, I don't know if you can hear, but it's a bit cleaner. Now if I add these two in series, it doesn't sound as good, I think, the runs, but it's easier to play because I have more output. It's more compressed. Okay. So I'll just jam with this one a little bit, and you can hear the difference. Oops. So this does inspire me to do the Yngwie stuff. Fingerstyle, not that much, but I can do a little bit. I'm just faking my way. Smoke on water. Or let's do something else. Let's do woo, 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 woo. Racism, how you doing, mate? Sweet Home Alabama. No, I got the request. Something like that, right? I'm crap. Sorry about that. The whole seek and destroy. I don't think so. I just know the. Would be cool if Kirk Hammett threw in some of that, wouldn't it? Play some SRV. Well, I don't know a lot of SRV, but I've been inspired by his take on like classic blues lately. I don't know, that just this specific thing, I think to me is very SRV-ish. But then I combine that with other bluesy or blues fusion elements. So I like to throw in the flat 5, so I like to add the major 6 of the Dorian note. And I like to add a lot of outside notes, so maybe like the major 3rd in a minor context. Can you hear it's a bit major sounding? If we combine that with a flat 5, we get. And then we can do the major 6. We can add a whole bunch of notes. We could add the minor 6 as well, so we get. We can add the minor 2nd and the 2nd, and we're gonna get all 12 notes now. Or actually not, there's one note missing, and that's the major 7. It's a tricky one, so. I don't know. Magic words, maybe that's what it is. I don't remember canon rock. I think maybe at some point I learned a few riffs from it. Actually, in Seven Nation Army, I think I learned it yesterday in the stream. How important is strumming? Strumming is cool. Strumming is very important if you want to play strumming songs, but it's also a great tool to just infuse more rhythm into your leads. So a lot of times I will practice like this. And it gets a little bit repetitive to play like that, right? It's more of an exercise. But as you can hear, it gives me like a framework for the swingy feel. I know that if I keep strumming and squeeze in the notes in between, I'm gonna sort of lock myself into this nice groove. So strumming is awesome. It's very good, and a lot of cool techniques and sounds come from that big picking movement. I often get comments like people say, "Oh, unnecessary big movement. You can do the same with a small movement," but it doesn't sound the same, you know. You can't mess up quite as badly. No, but that kind of thing, you can't get that by doing. I mean, that's also okay, but it's a different feel, right? So yeah. You do need everything. So everything you've ever heard is probably good, but it might not be right for you, but it's definitely useful. So if you find yourself mastering something Don't think that, well, I haven't seen Yngwie do that, so it's probably bad. No, that's not true. If you master something, take that technique with you, and you're going to be able to use it in lots of different circumstances. Maybe you thought that strumming was only for... Okay, but then you realize that, hey, you know, you can use it in other settings, and it becomes something much more than just your nirvana technique. Let's see here what you're saying. Your EQ. Oops, I think I missed that discussion thread. So obviously, I need to improve my ability to follow your conversation as I do the live stream. I do find myself trying to catch up with your comments. I'm sorry I can't do it. How to do tapping. Ooh, good one, good one. I'm trying to do it myself. So I'm just going to give you like generic tapping advice. Tapping is the same as doing legato with your right hand, especially if you're comfortable with hammers from nowhere. So if you can do this, where you hit the string without picking it, you're going to do the same thing with tapping, but in reverse, right? Because this hand is coming from above and this hand is coming from below. So that's why you should, the pull-off movement should be upwards. I learned that the hard way. I did it the wrong way for a long time, but it should really be... So you tap and then you pull upwards. Whereas if you do pull off with the left hand, you typically do it downwards, right? That's because the hands come from a different approach. So the basic idea with tapping is the same as with hammering on from nowhere with the left hand. You hit the guitar and you produce sound. And you should go for your fingertip, and actually you can probably find a lot of clips for me teaching, you know, this in detail, even here on this channel. Just a standard lick, like try to learn like a classic Kirk Hammett, Van Halen kind of lick. That's gonna set you off. And what I do once you master that is I practice tapping slowly like this, going up and down. Trying to come up with melodies using tapping. And if it's a good day, I might be able to actually play a whole improvised run. Doesn't always happen, but that's kind of where I want to take this. So I'm still working on it. And the way I work on this and anything else, really, is to really break it down into slow, melodic, and improvised playing. So I'll do it some more with tapping. If you find yourself missing notes like I did there, that's a clear sign you should slow down. When you're practicing, you pretty much want your playing to be perfect. That's my philosophy. Otherwise, you will get messed up, guaranteed, when you try to play faster, or when you're in the heat of the moment. Hey, random dude on the internet, that's me. I feel honored. Oh, so from on high. I pissed from on high off. You want eruption. Is that why you're angry? But I can't play eruption. That's an issue. But you know what? Just to make you happy, I'm gonna do... Because that's the only Van Halen riff I know, and I'm deeply sorry about it. Now let's do a little bit more of this. So yeah, that's actually a good, I think, a generic overview of the way I practice these days. Now, bear in mind, I've been playing for 30 years and all that, so it's not your ultimate breakdown of the technique, but once you master technique, it could be picking, it could be legato, I don't know, sweeping, arpeggios, whatever. This is what I do. I find a setting where I can practice it really slowly, but with variations. That's key. And the reason I say variations is because a lot of people get stressed when you say you should improvise. They think that, well, if I improvise, it's got to sound good. Otherwise, I'm a crappy improviser. But that's like a catch-22 problem. You can never become a great improviser if you think that you're going to be one from day one. It doesn't work like that. So you're going to have to accept that your first attempts at improvisation, in fact, your thousands of first attempts at improvisation, is going to sound like crap, or it's not going to sound musical. It doesn't have to sound bad in the sense that you're messing up things. But what you're aiming for are variations, okay? So if you want to get good at what I'm doing here, which is just jamming around the different techniques, then you gotta, be comfortable with the way of practicing, which is to play slowly, but with variations. So you learned a tapping lick. Now play slowly over a backing track and see if you can throw in a variation of that tapping lick. So let's say I've learned this. Okay, I'm able to do that fast. But can I do a variation? Maybe I can move between strings. That's a cool variation. Let's fast forward time a couple of months and maybe I can do it. I don't know. So maybe I can keep on going and find something cooler. Sounds a little bit different, a little bit cooler. And that's how I go about it. Maybe I can... So constantly, on a daily basis, try to find one new small variation. And the big advantage with that is it's much easier to come up with a variation of something you already learned as opposed to learning something new. And this is a very big issue I see among students. They're like, oh man, I just learned this lick and it took me 2 months. How the hell am I gonna learn a new one and then a new one and then a new one to start improvising with it? That's gonna take a lifetime. And the answer is, of course, you should not attempt to only learn a totally new lick. Sure, you can work on that in parallel, but even more importantly, you should find variations of the lick you just learned, because that's maybe only gonna take you 1 day to come up with a variation, whereas learning an entirely new lick maybe will take you another month, So you sort of got to be smart about the way you learn new material and base a lot of the new stuff you learn from stuff you've already learned, because it speeds up the process. If you get this thinking down, it can really save you much time in being mediocre and becoming better. And I speak from my own experience, because I was really crappy for a long time before I understood these things, and it took a long time. I had my 4 licks and I desperately wanted to learn a 5th one, but then when I realized this, I started progressing faster. Eugene's trick bag, that's another one I don't know, sorry man. Let's find another backing track. I'm tired of this one. I bet you are too. Maybe something a bit more metalish. I think this calls for the guitar I started out the session with. Those are lots of hi-hats going on. Can you hear that? Let's see if we can try to find another one. Too much hi-hat for me. That hi-hat was invasive. Invasive, what's the word? Too much. Let's see if we can find some other. Was this one I just did? This is cool. So the amp model is a Mesa Boogie Mark V. Can you hear both the guitar and the backing? That's cool, pretty progressive. So in case you're wondering, I'm just going through some backing tracks here from the GMC site, and I'm trying to find one that suits the mood. Let's do more of like a southern rock and not quite as aggressive metal. That's nice. Too many notes. Okay, sorry for missing out all these questions. So first guitar, which first guitar you should get? I often recommend Strats because you can find really good value Strats, really cheap ones that are decent, and you can always put like a single coil size humbucker in like this position to get more metal out of a Strat. You don't have to. If it's decently gained, you can get away with cool sounds. I mean, if you're into extreme metal, you're not going to be looking at a Strat anyway, I guess, so you're not going to be asking maybe, but that's a good starting point. Why not? I mean, you don't have to, it's not like decisive. You can buy one guitar and you can play it a lot for many years, and then you can buy a new one, you know. And it doesn't really matter which one it is because you can always change a pickup. As long as it feels okay and looks okay to you, that's what matters. Oh, you want to learn from me, Sai? Thanks so much. If anybody wants to learn from me, you can always just search for my name, Kristofer Dahl, and you're going to find my website where I do teach. Black Sabbath Iron Man. Okay. Sorry, I messed up. Harry King, thanks for liking me as a guy. I want to learn. Let's see. Sultans of Swing. I don't know it. I just know the arpeggio bit there. I mean, I don't even know that, but I know the arpeggio shape. He does this, I think, with his finger. So I don't think he does that, but I did it. Ooh, good fretboard exercises. I don't like, you know, when my generation, think boomer to dead, no, just kidding. When I was learning, these chromatic exercises, I guess, were a bit popular. You don't see them as often these days, which is good because I hate them. But I wouldn't recommend these kind of, you know, unless you really love how they sound and you want to do your something musical with them, and most people don't want to do that, like the flight of the bumblebee. Most people don't want to do that, so don't play chromatics. That's number one. Play exercises that are related to what you want to listen to, okay? What you want to learn. So maybe you had a look at your favorite solo. I don't know what that could be. Maybe something Sweet Child of Mine by Slash, you know, and you looked at that, it's like, whoa, that's so difficult. He does that something. Then try to make an exercise out of the tricky part, you know, that makes sense to me, because A, it's going to be closely related to something you like the sound of, super important. B, it's going to increase your chances of actually learning that specific solo. And C, I have no idea, but let's just do it like this. Try to form an exercise which repeats evenly and which is based around, so I think something, he does that in the fast part, right? So you could do, and that would help you. Just, you can take any part of your favorite solo, isolate it, and make sure it loops evenly so you can alter a note here and there just to make sure it becomes an exercise. And that's going to be better than any exercise I give you now, because that exercise, again, is going to be related to something you want to learn, something you want to listen to, something that is within your frame of music, not mine. And that's why the chromatic stuff was so crappy, you know. Again, no one has this as their favorite music, just like 3 or few fusion guys on planet Earth, you know. That's not a whole lot, you know. Most people don't want to listen to that. But because I said that, I'm gonna have to try it. Let's see if we can weave in some chromatics. It's hard, but it's doable. I messed up so badly. I hate it. That's also important. You have to see that I mess up. Oh, someone really wants Smoke on the Water. Oh, no volume. There you have it. I don't know, Fire on the Mountain. And the solo of what? Smoke on Water? Sorry, I don't know it. Crazy Train solo, I don't know that either. Did you learn the acoustic guitar or electric guitar for your first time? Good question. So I first got a nylon string guitar, something like that guitar. But my practicing never really took off until I got my first electric. And that didn't have anything to do with having the wrong guitar. It was simply because I didn't know anybody who was cool and who played nylon string, but I did know, you know, I did come to know the band Metallica and Nirvana, and though they play electric guitars, and they were cool. So when I got my electric guitar, I felt like, yeah, I want to do something cool now. And so that's what triggered me. It had nothing to do with, you can definitely start on acoustic. You can learn a million different acoustic techniques, and then you can start playing the electric, and most of that knowledge is going to transfer. So it doesn't really matter. It's more about what inspires you to play. So I only know this. Hey, from on high, no need to apologize. Or maybe there is a need, but thank you for apologizing. I didn't see your initial comment. Ooh, Trump can play better than me. I didn't know that. Dude, can you even play Smoke on the Water? I think I did it. I don't know any Polyphia, sorry. How many hours should an intermediate guitarist practice? Good question. How many hours should you practice? So that's like saying, of course, which car is best, or what color is best on a car. A lot of different answers there, but the thing is, my philosophy is you should never practice uninspired. Don't push yourself to practice if you don't want to. So if that means you're only going to be practicing 15 minutes per week, and you see that as a problem, then you got to work more on being inspired to practice. So find new content that inspires you. Could be the internet, could be your record collection, whatever, and try to be inspired more often. So then maybe you can find methods where you can just, go through your saved videos, be inspired, and practice 10 minutes every day. That's awesome if you're inspired. Now, of course, if you're inspired to practice 2 hours per day, that's even better. I was inspired when starting out to practice, 6 to 10 hours per day, and I injured myself. So you got to be careful if you practice a lot. I couldn't play for 6 months, and if I had not gotten the right help, I maybe would never have played again. So respect your body. I was young and I managed to mess up. I was 17. Now I'm on the wrong side of 40. So if I did that mistake these days, I would probably never recover from it. So be inspired and practice as much as you can. There's no point in pushing yourself to practice if you're not inspired, right? But I guess the question is, how much do you need to put in to get really good? But I'd say if you can find the inspiration to practice 1 hour per day and be really focused, do that for a couple of months, you're already gonna start to feel much, much better. I think 1 hour per day has potential. I practice much more, but I had a lot of hours that were totally uninspired, where I was just sitting like this, which is why I injured myself, by the way. So it's hard to say generally, but let's say you have a normal, 8 to 5 work, and you don't have time to practice a lot. You have family at home, but you can still think about music during work. You can think about what you're going to practice during your 1 hour. Then your 1 hour session can be amazingly productive. And the opposite is also true. You can have lots of time on your hands, but no inspiration. Like, yeah, I should practice this. Then I'd get good. But, then I would advise, do something with your life. Go out and experience stuff. And maybe you're only going to have 2 hours of practice, but then those hours are going to be really effective, So it's about understanding, I would say, the parameters of progress. It's not about the time you have at your disposal necessarily, although time helps, but it's not the only factor. Oh, that was the most tasteless build-up ever. So too many notes there. It was fun, but maybe not to listen to. I don't know, Beat It Solo and Master Puppets. I'm not sure when I'll play it a third time. Maybe I do. Here we go. No, I didn't want to do it. Sorry. You just got the intro. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an amazing session. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for, the positive atmosphere, and you basically helping out each other as far as I can see in the stream here. That's amazing. We're spreading joy, we're spreading knowledge and kindness. We help each other just because you can, and that's a good thing. So keep on doing that. You are the best. Have a good one. See ya. Cheers.